Welcome 2023. Welcome, welcome to a new year.
Welcome to a new year.
Happy New Year from ironsharpentiron. Yeah, it's been a good time. Today is how many days to the new year? So we thank God for giving us the grace to see this year. We appreciate the Lord even on your behalf, on our families and friends. So we're glad to see you again, to have you again on our platform. Happy New Year once again.
Happy New Year.
So this year so my name is Abike Talks. I remain Abike Talks, and with me is our dear, fiercely loved Brain Kofo.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful year, and we just want to all just to this I want to say this morning, could be this evening, whatever the time. To this year, it's been so far so good. This year has been a year of God's. It's a year of the Lord. Every year is a year of the Lord, but there is something, I don't know, there is something that is making this year very significant. That it has something to do with knowing God, knowing God more. And I was sharing with Kofo, was it last week or this week? I was sharing about my prayers, my my dream, my vision for the year, and I found out that we've been on the same track, and we just start this year, our year of knowing God more, our year of knowing God more, and we want to urge all our viewers, what do we call them, our followers. We can't do, we've been saying this, that we cannot do without God. It's impossible. Our life is nothing without him. For some, well, they have their plans, they have their way of getting their things up, but for some of us, we can't do without him. So I would encourage us to be intentional about seeking God more, knowing him more, allowing him to be our guide, the guide directions, the one that will give you direction for the year, the one that will give instructions for the year, even our plans and everything. Like we have goals for the year. Even at that, there still needs to allow God to be in the center of whatever you have in mind, whatever you plan to do this year. And I think God is more interested in our lives this year, because the way everything is coming is like God is more interested. He wants to dominate the affair of everyone that is willing to allow him. So that is willing to allow him. So Kofo, do you have anything to share?
Thank you so much, IBK Talks. And you know, this knowing God more, we found out that we had discussed it earlier last month. That when we are starting the new year, we are going to say this, we are going to say that. But somewhere along the line, we both forgot. And then when we were talking about how personal retreats, like she went on a personal retreat, and then I've been doing mine solo as well in my own way. And you know, while we were talking and we were sharing, so there was actually a sermon that I listened to and I shared with her, and then we're discussing it, you know, revelation, remember the excitement. And one thing that I realized, that we both realized individually, that was consistent for us, was that God wanted us to move higher, to go to a higher level, to go to a bigger place and bigger level with him. So we're talking about how we are going to talk about how people should fellowship with God more. So, you know, we realized that, that day, there was a day we were talking. Welcome back. So, as I was saying, and we're talking about it, and then we realized that we had discussed this earlier, that this was the focus where this was where God wanted us to focus for the year. And we were just,
Mm,
and just like I think 2 days ago, we were talking about how God always confirms his word over and over again. And as we were talking about it, we were like so shocked, like that, wow, we could not even remember that we had discussed this.
that's
And
so serious.
yes,
So very
so sweet. Because funny both of us, we could not remember that we had discussed this, but because she was taking notes, so those notes she had sent it to another phone of mine. So I was trying to forward it that, oh, this was the note we took. And then I saw it, I was just screaming. I was like, Auntie Buku, see, this is
wow.
what we said we were going to say, but we forgot. But see how God brought us back to that place. And which is why we would always tell you to please know God for yourself. Know God for yourself. I remember that when we were talking about it, the specific word that Auntie Bukun used was that until you start knowing God for yourself, you would be tossed by every wind of doctrine. You'll
Hmm.
be tossed by every wind of doctrine. And it relates, in fact, it sums up the word I was saying. So it was I think Apostle Joshua Selman's first session on Wavbeck, and he was talking about how to hear from God. And he says that how does God communicate? So he was talking about how God communicates via light. And we're talking about this because 2 years ago, God was leading us to pray about light.
Hey, light,
And
light.
that was like 2 years ago. God was leading us to pray about light. And it became a thing for us. But we as at that time, we didn't really understand the full message that God was trying to pass across. But that sermon, Pastor Apostle was talking about how God speaks through light, but you need to understand the
Eh,
intent of God.
the language of God is
Yeah, the
light.
language of God. Yeah. And he was talking about how you need to understand the intent of God. So that until you understand the intent of God, you'll be limited by the doctrine of whoever it is you're following, by the pastor, your leader. You'll be limited by their own understanding of that intent, unless you know God for yourself. And see, she had said it that until you know God for yourself, you'll be tossed by every wind of doctrine. So this year, we all have dreams, we all have plans, we all have different things, and God is going to make everything happen. But first, you need to know God for yourself. You need to know God more. No matter how more you think you know Him now, there is always a place for more. There is always a place for more. And that is what God is calling us deeper. He's calling us for a deeper walk with Him, a deeper understanding of who He is, a deeper understanding of His ways. And another thing she said, I'm going to talk about again, is that she said something about how this 2023 is different. How 2023, I don't know what it is about the year. They say that weekend that will be good, from Thursday or something. And that is how have I did I scatter it?
Oh
Shebi
no.
weekend that will be
Yeah.
good now. Saturday to mama derby. And so that there's something about 2023 that my husband and I were discussing this, and he was saying the same thing, that this year is just different. But the way that everybody is feeling that is different, if you don't tap into what God is doing, it would not be different for you. If you don't tap into what God has in store, what God has planned,
Will not be different.
just be the same whole year for you. It will just be another 365 days has come and it's gone. But let's make this year a different one. And let's start by getting to know God more. IBK Talks, over to you.
Yeah. Well, you said it all. You said it all. So we'll just leave you on this note that get to know God more. Anyhow. And there is one thing that is paramount about knowing God's words is you can't get to know God if you are far from His words. And what's His word? Reading the Bible. And it's not just the Bible. You can read any related books that tells you about God. You can listen to sermon, listen to good music. Not that you don't listen to some secular, or you don't see, you are not dealing with anything secular, but make the things of God more than what you would do to relax. So we'll leave you on that note. Knowing God more from iron sharpeneth iron. This year is a year of knowing God more. And I know that the more you know God, the more God is interested in our matter, the more he will be interested in your case. And once God is interested in your case, I think that's it. That's all. Everything will fall in line. Everything will fall in line. Lines will fall
Give
to
us
you
the kingdom
in
of God.
pleasant places. Right, rightly positioning with God. And people will begin to ask that, why? How did you do it? How did you do it? While others are saying there is casting down for their soul, you will say to you, there is a lifting up for your soul.
Okay. Thank you also very much. Thank you so much for the session. And we just pray that God will help us in our journey as we get to know Him more, as we get to fall in love more with Him, or we fall afresh with Him. God bless you until we meet again. Mwah.